Hello and welcome to Shad'sVoice, a series that I am talking about random topics that I get on our random topic generator, and I just talk until I feel like I cannot talk about it anymore. And if you stick around and listen, I do appreciate it, and I do hope you enjoy the topics. If you've listened to them, I would hope so. If definitely heard a few of them before maybe this one. But if you haven't, well, I hope this is good enough to keep you coming back in a way. So today's topic, it's, I mean, it's generic, but maybe it's one of those things that I definitely have a story about and story with, and it's one of the biggest stories that I would say, and important stories uh, to me that even today still has been one of the things that I am kind of either being known for or kept going for and stuff like that. But the conversation topic is, what's your favorite game to play? And obviously, this can be meaning a lot of things. Obviously, it could be video games, which most people are probably going to think of. And yes, it's gonna be me. Um, or board games and stuff. And I think games are kind of important. And I mean, besides video games or just games in general, I think it has a very interesting and big history to a lot of people, almost like tradition and culture and stuff like that, because it brings people together and usually it's fun. Hopefully it's fun, but I think it might be fun for somebody else, but there's probably been some horrible games that you think like probably torture wise and people enjoying it. You could probably think of like gladiators and stuff like that, and people in the ring and fighting to their death. That's fun for people to watch, probably not fun for the people dying. But that's what I mean, that it has history and stuff like that. And yeah, well, luckily I'm gonna not go into like gladiators and fighting to the death, and I'm just gonna go to my favorite video game franchise, which you may know or you may not. Which I did not discover this franchise until over 5 years ago now. This year was my fifth anniversary of it. And and it's old, by the way, very old. I think it just had its 11th anniversary this year. It started technically back in January. But my favorite game franchise, if you know or know, is Darksiders, that I discovered 5 years ago. And the story of how I discovered Darksiders, if somebody hasn't heard this, I know I've told it quite a few times on social media and to other people, mostly just in red form, but now I'm going to say it again or in video. I discovered it by a YouTuber. Well, most of us watch YouTubers play games. Not every YouTuber plays games on a daily. Well, this particular one used to, and then he stopped, and then he came back to playing games, but he hasn't really went back to this one. And I will tell you who this YouTuber is later. Uh, but he was playing it. He was actually playing Darksiders 2. And I don't know what passed through my head exactly, but I feel like my brain went, this game is beautiful. No, I have to stop watching this. And then go start at the beginning. Is I feel like it was a series that I sort of heard of, but I didn't know anything about. Like, I remember the title, and that was about it. So I go back to the beginning, but if you don't know what Darksiders is about, it's about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, Each different game follows a different horseman, and there's angels, there's demons. They fight them, and all of this. There's this whole story going back. I don't want to spoil a lot of things in case somebody wants to get into the series. I think it's great. It might not be your cup of tea. It's a hack and slash. I think it would be fairly cheap for most people to buy at least the first two games, but there's Darksiders 3 and then Darksiders Genesis now, which I've played a few of them. I mean, I've played all of the games, but I've only recorded a few of them actually on my channel. I mean, Darksiders 3 and Darksiders Genesis is done. There's a whole story of my old Darksiders 2 playthrough that back then I could not upload some of the videos on that playthrough, and I kind of just stopped because it's like they're not uploading. I don't know what to do. And even though I've ran Darksiders 2 quite a few times, I probably could have picked it up from there, even though it would have been like years apart, but I never did. And yeah, so hopefully, if you go watch my Darksiders 2 playthrough, I'm sorry, it's probably never going to be finished. I don't know. Maybe I'll restart it anew sometime. Maybe I'll actually just delete it and just redo it. But I know right now I'm just kind of almost done playing the games, and that's a whole thing. But anyway, so going back, first game is about the Horseman War. He is accused of starting the End War, which is the war that's supposed to be the apocalypse, ends the world, humans are judged, everything. He was accused of this because he was there. The seventh seal was broken, but when the seventh seal is broken, all of the horsemen are supposed to be summoned and fighting. War is the only one summoned. His siblings are not there. So it's up to him to figure out why the seventh seal is broken, but none of the other horsemen were summoned, why he was alone, and who was the cause of it, so he can prove his innocence. And that's the first game. Darksiders 2 was death. But yeah, so I discovered Darksiders 2, thought it was beautiful, went back, looked into the original Darksiders, and watched like a no commentary, because at that point most of the time I liked watching no commentary gaming videos if I especially didn't know the person, because sometimes it just annoys you when somebody's talking over a game. I mean, some of us are like that, I know. So I mean, I remember going to watch it, and at that time I didn't have been bought it or any of the games. I did eventually, uh, with the help of my friend, figured out what the I think at this time I only had an Xbox 360. I did not have my PlayStation 4 yet or something, but I only had an Xbox 360. I figured out Xbox 360 was like the older generation or part of it that Darksiders and Darksiders 2 released on, so I got the original games and I still have them because I think the covers are beautiful and they're not the same covers that are used for the remasters that are on the newer gen games. So, but yeah, the old games are something else. I was able to complete the first Darksiders game myself on Xbox 360. Darksiders 2 was a different story because it had a game-breaking glitch dealing with a load screen that at a certain part, nearly at the end of the game, that would not load, and there was absolutely nothing you could do about it but start another game. And for most people who probably know, who've played Darksiders 2, that's over about 15 hours of gameplay that you have to do again. Usually you complete it maybe around 15 to 20 hours if it's your first playthrough. And that hurts. But I was able to finish the game myself again before getting the remasters for PlayStation 4. And then eventually, yeah, and the time I got into Darksiders, there's this whole story to do with bankruptcy of the original development team and it possibly not being um, resurrected. And at this time, well, I was just kind of figuring it out, and I didn't know that. But I did not have long to wait to figure out it was going to be resurrected within like the next year or two after I was done. Yeah, it had to be 2 years or so, 1 or 2 years, because like I said, was my fifth anniversary. Darksiders 3 came out 3 years ago now. So I didn't have to wait as long as other people otherwise because it was a 6 hour, 6 hour? Sorry, 6 year gap between the second and third one being made because of the bankruptcy, and people were probably wondering if this game series was ever going to come back. And I mean, there's definitely a fandom for it. I've met some cool people. I guess I'm not that well known, but like I said, there is a lot more to the story. Um, but that is my favorite games franchise. And the person that I have to owe it to, that I started to, is Nate Wants a Battle is his YouTube name. His actual name, Nathan Sharp. People might know him as singer. He's a great singer, music artist. He he used to play games on his channel. He stopped doing that for a long while to focus on his music, which is understandable. I still love him to this day. I still listen to his music. His music's awesome. He does a lot of covers. He has his original music. He's done anime covers. He definitely blown up on Five Nights at Freddy's. I would say he is the king of FNAF music. And unfortunately, maybe now that's going away, but that's a whole different conversation for maybe another day, or you might already know this. But Nate is the reason why I love Darksiders. And he is the reason how I discovered it. And he apparently really loves Darksiders 2, which Darksiders 2 is also my favorite of the series that has my heart and soul. And it's not because of him, but it's because of my own personal reasons that Darksiders 2 is my heart and soul of the franchise. But I still love the franchise very much, and it's made a difference in my life. Why? What more I mean of how this game series is big for me. It came to me about a time that I felt like I was kind of falling. And, like, me as an artist, sometimes it's very hard to feel motivated when you're doing the same thing every single time, or feel like you're just hitting somewhere and you can't crawl out of it. And it's like, you're unmotivated, nothing is making you happy anymore. You're just even at a spot that you feel like you're not going to create anything better. And the time, and me being like a portrait artist and stuff like that, drawing people, wanting to draw, especially at that time, my own characters, but I kind of fell out of that. Um, when Darksiders came, that was my sort of resurrection. Because I started doing fan art of the Horsemen and creatures from that game series and other characters, and absolutely loved it and wanted to keep getting better. And my art started getting better because I was happy and enjoying what I was doing again. And Darksiders made that difference to me. So when I started doing more and more stuff from it, especially projects that were bigger and took a lot more time, I got this little sort of cult following, but it's not like huge. There's probably better, and I definitely know one, but I haven't really met them. But um, a signature kind of Darksiders artist that's above me, but I'm trying to do my own thing because that's what we want. We don't want to be known as doing the same thing as somebody else, and I don't think I am. I think I went my own direction with it, and that's what I'm more proud of. But I have this small group of people that I've met because of my art, because of Darksiders, that made me happy and changed kind of how it's been for me in the franchise. So, like I said, this game basically had changed my life, and to this day, obviously, even though I feel like I'm not doing as much, but for the past 5 years, have been constantly doing Darksiders themed projects, and it was what I love to do. And I still would not give it up because I know how much this franchise had changed me and everything that I thought I could be or could do because I was doing it. And I would not want to lose that ever. So maybe you have a grand story of a franchise that changed your life. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't love a game series that much that it's changed your life. But I feel like maybe everybody has a comfort series, I'll call it. And obviously, Darksiders is that for me. But unfortunately, I played the games way too many times. I already ran them that it's like, I gotta stop right now. And it's not because I hate the games, it's just like, I've done it so many times, and there's nothing new, and I'm obviously waiting for the next one all the time. I'm waiting for Darksiders 4. I've unfortunately been a little disappointed still. We have not gotten our news, probably for it, right along with the rest of the fandom, but I do believe, but I got lucky I didn't have that long to wait, that this franchise and the developers, um, if they can take their time, if they can come back and still have the fandom waiting and happy for the most part. I've seen some bad things from a lot of people. It's like, you're missing the point now. But there is a lot of people that are very grateful for the series being back and stuff like that. And like I said, there is a lot of nice people. I just have not met them all, and I probably won't. I feel like I'm still not really a known artist within it, and that's fine with me. I don't want to be huge of and well known from it, but if it happens one day, it happens. But I feel like, yeah, that, and I've got a whole lot of cool things come out of it from the people I've met. I've even had recognition 2 years ago now, on December almost. It's going to be out 3 years almost since Darksiders Genesis came out. That, um, because it came out a year after Darksiders 3 did. But I done a portrait of, was half Strife, the other half was Chris J. Alex, or Jai, I'm not sure. I think it's J. But it's Jai instead of like Jay for people. But I think, yeah, Chris J. Alex, who is the new voice actor for Strife. He was not the voice actor for Strife in Darksiders 3, but that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, he is the new voice actor for Strife. Pretty sure he's staying. But I really was glad because like Strife was the one where you were waiting a long time in the franchise, and it's like he finally came in Darksiders Genesis, and we got an introduction to him, and he was absolutely bonkers. We loved him, and his without his voice actor bringing him to life, it's like, what can you do? But yeah, I did this portrait of half him and Strife, and then it was crazy. This is a whole different story even, but this being last 2 years ago now in December, I'm pretty sure I had COVID, but this was before the doctors even knew what COVID was because I was having coughing fits and everything while I was at work, like at supper one night. And I literally had to go separate myself from trying to take this order of this woman and her daughter. I was a waitress in an assisted living home. But I had to leave because I could not breathe. I could not talk. I had to go get a drink of water, and it took over 5 minutes. But that was a night that um, I probably tagged him in like the day before or something, or night before. I don't remember. But somehow I got brave enough, because usually I don't do this, to tag Chris J. Alex in an Instagram post thanking him for being our awesome voice actor for Strife, and had the art, the drawing in it, and everything. And that night, when I went on my supper break at work, discovered that Chris had reposted, had thanked me for the art, said it was very awesome. He's glad to be a part of the Darksiders family, and eventually I just kind of watched the likes on it build up to like over 100, like not 1,000 or something, but over 100. And of course I kept a screenshot of that, and I'm not gonna post it. I don't think I want to post it, but it's like, well, for personal reasons, I think I'm not gonna post it. I could edit out my username, but I'm not going to. But take my word as it, he reposted it. He thanked me for it. It was awesome to have that recognition for once, and that was, I'd say, my biggest accomplishment as a fangirl artist, as what I call myself, because I still love doing fan art of other things that I fangirl over, not just Darksiders, even though Darksiders is a big part of it. And yeah, that felt to me my biggest accomplishment from the series, that all started because of one of my favorite YouTubers, which if only he knew how much that I would have came to know it, but I have not personally talked to him. It would be awesome if I could. Doubt he's ever going to hear this video, but if by chance he did, I hope he knows how awesome he is and how much he's probably changing somebody else's life, even if he thinks it's not that big of a deal. And I still love his music. I still listen to him. All that. Thank you, Nate. You've changed my life on this like crazy. So yeah, it's still something I'm doing to this day. And it's something I'm not gonna probably give up. I don't want to lose this because I think I would be depressed if I did. And yeah, that's my favorite games to play. My favorite game, Darksiders 2, franchise is Darksiders in general. And there's been a lot of other games that I've enjoyed, but nothing had changed me as much as Darksiders has. And I cannot express that enough. And this is going to probably be the longest video I see right now because it's like 24 minutes. The longest video I've ever done on here. But this is how much it means to me. So if you sat here through this whole thing of me ranting, I have to thank you for sitting here listening to me. But yeah, I think I'm done now. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.